All right, for this next video, we are going to be visiting Jodogahama Beach up here in Iwate, up in the middle of the Iwate prefecture on the Pacific Peninsula side. It is part of the Sanriku National Park, and we'll talk about that for just a second, but just only for a brief minute. Now, just to orient you to where we are, down here at the bottom, we're down here is Tokyo, the Tokyo area. Narita's out here in the Chiba prefecture. And so you'll have to, fly up to Iwate, up to Morioka, or drive either the coastal route or the center route. But we're about right up here. Okay, and so if I'm using Google Earth here, I'll rotate up here. Hokkaido is up here to the north, big island to the north, and then there's Aomori, and then there's on the Pacific side, there's the prefecture of Iwate, and on the coast is the Jodogahama beach and resort area. So it is in the town of Miyako. And before we zoom in too much, keep in mind that as part of the Sanriku National Park, the Sanriku National Park is pretty much this whole coastline here. So it's not a park like you might think of. It's not like a city park or even really, I guess you could think of it as a state park. But you see this little blue outline here. It pretty much goes from Miyagi, the northern part of Miyagi, all the way up through Iwate and then into the prefecture of Aomori. So it's a huge, huge national park for Japan. And it was established in 1955, but in 2011, when that great tsunami hit this entire coastline, that tsunami or that earthquake was generated right about in here. Massive, massive tsunami, absolutely destroyed Sendai and Miyagi coastline and then up into the Iwate. Actually, that tsunami affected all the way up here to the, just right around the Kuji area. So obviously, as it went further away, it got less damage. But this area here was absolutely devastated. If you remember some of the news reports that came out or read about it, there was passenger trains that were traveling on this coastal expressway that are just gone. Along with, of course, all of the inhabitants. And there's towns that just don't exist anymore. So as part of the reconstruction from the 2011 earthquake and subsequent tsunami, they rededicated this park, this Pacific Coastal Park, and that allowed them to reconstruct what was there, as well as put in quite a lot of improvements to protect it from any future tsunamis. And you'll see that if you visit it, but that's not the focus of this video. The focus is this resort beach area, Jodogahama, and that's what this video is all about. So we'll zoom in here a little bit. Okay, it is in the town of Miyako. Okay, that's in Iwate Prefecture. Nice little town, very beautiful, has quite a bit of tourist spots and points of interest. But we're going to, here's the main port here, but this little peninsula here, okay, is Jodogahama. Okay, and we stayed here. This is the resort, the hotel. It's got a beautiful little onsen. I included a little bit about that. Obviously, I couldn't go in and videotape the onsen. If you're familiar with Japanese onsens, they are public baths, and they are clothing optional, and that's not anything to leer at or anything. That's just Japanese culture. Okay, so obviously I don't take my phone in there and videotape, right? Okay, so this is the beach. If you look up Jodogahama Beach, that is a beautiful swimming. It's fully protected by all these absolutely incredible rock formations, and there's actually not a whole lot of seaweed or sea plant life in here. So it's a wonderful place to swim in the summer, and as you can see, it's just a beautiful white sandy beach. This shot was taken probably not in the height of summer, because in the height of summer during a holiday or something, this beach will be very, very full, and this is probably an average during the week, during the warm spell. So it's not too crowded right now, but during a holiday or height of summer, it'll be pretty crowded. But a little, very small little parking spot here and a little diner, and there you can get some ramen or some shave ice or anything like that. Okay. Then if you come along here, you can walk. They have a nice, beautiful, beautiful little walking trail down here. You can come along the bay. There are some fishing. There's some uni fishing outfits going on, little uni divers that you can see sometimes. There's the Iwate Fisheries science. Sometimes you see people out there doing research on the recovery of this area from the 2011 earthquake. So you can walk along here. What beautiful for a stroller. You can take your stroller, take your kids. There's a fence along there so that you don't have to worry about your kids falling in. But especially right around in here, you can see lots of uni. That's sea urchins. For sea urchins that they harvest and eat. I don't think they actually harvest them here, but they're researching the recovery. Comes along here. There's a little tunnel that goes through this mountain here. And then you come along to the marine house, and you can actually rent some boats during the tourist season there. They have some little swan boats. You can paddle out, little paddle boats you can paddle out. Okay, and then right up in here, kind of hidden by the trees, is the visitor center. Shows you kind of the history of that, and I got some shots in this video for that. So absolutely wonderful. Couple other things I want to point out. I have a section coming up on the Fisheries Science Museum. That's right over here. So if you're staying at the hotel, you'll park right here. You can drive up here if you like, but it's definitely easy walking distance. And again, you'll see in the video that this science museum is absolutely wonderful example of a local kind of hands-on science museum / aquarium. Shows a history of it, and it's all kid safe. Please bring your kids. They'll absolutely love it. If you're here during the, actually I said this was the visitor center. I'm terribly sorry. This is the visitor center down here. And this is where you can rent your boats. But this is the visitor center down here. So all of this place is very family friendly. Bring your stroller, bring your little kids. It's very safe. It's fenced off. I will point out that, again, here's the hotel. If you're driving a car, obviously you'll almost certainly be driving a car unless you take a tour, but right in here there's a road that kind of winds up in here, and there's a little wide spot in the road with a trail. You can walk this ridge line, this little point out here. Look back and see the hotel, but what's cool about this is they have a little educational memorial, if you will. The Battle of Miyako Bay actually happened out here, and that was back in the 1800s when the Shogun had essentially, surrendered, if you will, to the emperor. The emperor of Japan had aligned with Western powers, and the Shogun had fought him for some time. But the Shogun, stepped down, said, okay, I've had enough. Well, the loyalists for the Shogun fled. They fled north, and the emperor's forces, the emperor wanting to, finish the battle so it didn't come up later, chased them, and that final sea battle happened here in Miyako Bay. Really cool, and it was all at sea. There was no land engagement, so it was this area was the sea battle for kind of the last throes of the Shogun's forces. So if you read The Last Samurai, you might be familiar with Tom Cruise movie, but if you read the book, you'll get a much better feeling for what that time in Japan was like. Absolutely fascinating time, but also a time of very intense change. And Japan was debating their future. Okay, and they debated it at the point of a sword, and with bows and arrows, and battles and muskets and cannon. Okay, and this was the last throws, and so this little point here is kind of dedicated to that. And about here behind the Science Museum, there's another memorial with a little bit more information. So if you're into the history of Japan, it's actually a great place to stop. I'll also, although I don't have, I only have just a little bit of footage. If you go into Miyako, down here, this Shiokaze Park is absolutely a great little park that you can get some more, look at the area. Place for the kids. You can take a walk all around. And then what's really fascinating, this is the commercial fishing dock. And during certain times of the day, they'll let you come in and tour. Okay, you can't buy fish. You don't have a commercial fishing license. You're not a broker, but they'll let you watch it, and so you can see all the different catches that come in. Usually that's earlier in the day that you have to get there, and you have to look at their schedule. They don't necessarily publish it, but they put it on the door here. And then this little visitor center here it has a little store, has a little cafe in there, and you can look at it. But what makes this so interesting is they have a lot of information about the tsunami. This building existed before the tsunami, and it still exists now, and so they have a lot of pictures of before and after and during. This building back here is where everybody who was here fled to get away from the tsunami. And so there's a lot of pictures and videos from this building looking down on this whole area as the tsunami swept through and took it out. So a little bit on the somber side, but very much a part of the history of Japan. And then I'd encourage you to explore Miyako City itself. Has some wonderful little restaurants. It's not a tourist city per se, but they are very aware of their tourist loading during the summer, and so there are businesses to cater to the foreign taste. There's restaurants that you might not be familiar with the name, but definitely the cooking is good for you there. And of course, there's the traditional Japanese cooking as well. One of the things I will say, if you do tour through here, there's a lot of very large, if you see here, it looks like a fence, but that is that's like a 50-foot tall concrete barrier, essentially blocking off any future tsunamis. Okay, now it's not meant to stop the tsunami. Okay, what it's meant is to delay the rise enough to let the civilians, let the people who are below the sea level right here get up into the high spots. So, a smaller tsunami it might stop, but a large tsunami, it's not really meant to protect you so that you don't even have to do anything. It's meant to slow it down enough so you can get out of there. And so from an engineering point of view, this place is absolutely awesome to go around and look at some of the engineering works they've done to protect the population from future large tsunamis. So that's kind of cool. So let's go ahead and get in the video. You've heard me talk enough. We'll go ahead and get started, but I wanted to give you an idea of where we were up here in the Tohoku region of northern Japan in Iwate. And let's go ahead and get started on it. All right, so the first place I want to take a look at is the Jodogahama Beach itself. That was the first thing that we saw on the Google Earth, looking down that white sandy beaches. This is a clip from the ground view. You have those beautiful rock formations. It's well sheltered, a great place to swim. We're going to walk down here in a second and look at the incredibly clear, beautiful water. I will point out that I said it was white sandy beaches, and I need to correct myself because it's not sandy. It's actually a white rock. It's smooth. It's not jagged. It's not quite river rock, but it's a kind of a gravelly mix, if you will. It's all white. Your kids will love looking for shells and rocks in there. But nice thing is you're not gonna have to deal with sandy blankets and sandy feet and sand everywhere. You can just kind of set out and bring a little picnic lunch or something like that. And here we go, and walking down to the water, and just take a look at this water. This is Pacific Ocean side, is absolutely beautiful. There's some little fish and some uni sea urchins in there, but there's not a whole lot of seaweed or mud or muck or anything. It's just absolutely gorgeous. All right, for this next clip, we're going to look at this is the walkway that I showed you from the overhead there, and a view of the cliffs and the cliffs that are along there, and then showing this walkway that's absolutely perfect for a little family walk. You can walk around the bay. Good place for a stroller, safe for the kids. There's the kids could go over the side, so definitely keep an eye on them. But this is going through the mountain there, and just a beautiful walk. Here we see the Jodogahama Visitor Center, and that is an absolutely amazing little building. They have a lot of this stuff. This clip will look like it's very new, and it is, because they use their reconstruction from the tsunami and earthquake recovery money, if you will, to put this display together. And this is down in the basement of the visitor center. Up top is in the first floor there, when you first come in, is just a little visitor center, has brochures and pamphlets. But if you come down here to the basement, they've set this whole display, which is kind of the history and ecology and the state of the Iwate, the Sanriku National Forest here. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful open display. They have you see the video there in the back. They have a whole library that we're looking at right now. Now it's all in Japanese, so you got to be able to read Japanese. But it's kind of just an open community space with displays of the ecology, the economy, the culture, and the people of the Iwate coastline. So you've got to get down here. It shows some industries, little cottage industries, as well as full-on industries. And some displays. Got a little ecology display here. This is display of trash that was picked up off the beach. Nice little mural of the mountains of the coastal mountains here in Iwate. So it's absolutely a wonderful place. A place for kids can, get there, play with stuff. I guess not hands dirty, but they can, get, put hands on some stuff. Point out these seats and the couch there, the rocks. They're actually soft, cushiony seats, but they're formed to make it look like the rocks of the Iwate coastline. So that's kind of cool there. And then of course, it's not a broad, expansive view, but there's a beautiful view here out onto the bay. So definitely come over to the visitor center and spend 30-40 minutes here. I think you'll be well served by that experience. Now, from the visitor center, we go up to the Park Hotel, the Jodogahama Hotel. And I don't really go into the hotel a little bit, so just looking at the entrance here, but just a beautiful, very classic Japanese minimalist design. You got the timbers, and then a little bit of a red carpet, a little bit worn, but it's not too bad. Then a little water display, rock garden, absolutely gorgeous. I didn't really go in because I didn't want to intrude on the other guests, but I go out to the restaurant viewpoint next. And here we are looking out over Miyako Bay onto the Sanriku coastline. And absolutely gorgeous. I don't know how well the video will show it, but you can look down and look directly into the water. It's absolutely clear. You're looking out over the Miyako Bay, and that Battle of Miyako Bay is right out there. You zoom in on that fishing boat right there, and that's where the Battle of Miyako Bay happened. The big ship battle, the maritime battle there. And one of the things that's absolutely lovely about this view, this specific view, we'll zoom in on a big cloud of seabirds that's in constant rotation over the bay over there. And there's a commercial fishing port, and so they're circling, waiting for the fishing boats to come in. But as they're there, it's just surreal how they're just out in a constant big giant circle. And so it's just absolutely lovely. Get a view down here on the water. And this is all from the restaurant on I think it's the third floor of the hotel here. So lunchtime is a buffet. The breakfast and dinner are 4-course meals, all plated and served and ready to go. I move into looking at the hotel room not because it's so spectacular, but this is a very typical view of a hotel room. Never stayed at a Japanese hotel. This is what you can expect for a more traditional Japanese hotel. And that is there's no beds. Okay, we walk through the genkan, the entryway, and there's a bathroom there behind you, but there's no beds. You'll stay in this tatami room. They'll lay out the futons, the beds for you, so you can sleep at night, and then take them up after you leave for breakfast. And then here's a view from the room. So here's another view. This is a view from the deck of the hotel room. Very similar. The restaurant is right above us, actually, so it's going to be a very similar view to the restaurant view that you saw. One thing that's absolutely wonderful, I talked about it, is the observation point over Miyako Bay. So here we are looking back at the hotel from that observation point, and then another look at Jodogahama Beach and looking out over those rock formations and that incredibly fabulous clear water. All right, we're going to shift gears a little bit here, and right next to the Jodogahama Hotel is the Iwate Fisheries Museum, and that's what you're seeing here. You saw the little rescue boat, and then this is the entrance, and it is run by the Iwate government, and it is a museum specifically for kids that shows the ecology, the economy, and the history of the Iwate fishing culture here in Japan. And a little entrance, you pay your little fee. It's actually like less than $3 per person, and kids under like 8 are free or something, so it's ridiculously cheap. But you come in here and you got a little aquarium. It shows basically just aquarium fish, but at a level that little kids can get down and get face to face with these little creatures. And these are all fish that are found in the local waters. I suppose a few of them might be a stretch to say local. Has this beautiful model, scale model of an old fishing schooner mothership type thing. I can read Japanese, but I'm not great at it. But you can work your way through it. Use your Google Translate on your phone. But this whole place is dedicated to the history and culture of fishing here in the Tohoku coastline, Sanriku coastline. And each tank has kind of a theme, a little tropical fish theme. Small fish here. You can get in there and look. There's an uni, a sea urchin. Okay, here to the left, these are, you got your amberjacks and other various fish. There's a little shark back in there. It has all these tanks and everything, and they're all at more or less eye level. Now, the cool thing was, I didn't get any video of it. These are some little salmonoid fish. Some of them are farmed in Japan. Some of them are found in the local streams and stuff. But the cool thing is that they feed these fish all the time, and if you get to be there when they're feeding them, they'll let your kids feed the fish, of course. A little flounder. I don't know exactly what type, a little flounder flatfish. Okay, so they'll come in here, and your kids can feed the fish, and they're little old guy, little man. This is a hugu, a little blowfish type thing. But little old guy will come out to feed the fish, and your kids are there. He absolutely loves kids, and he'll come up and help them, stand on a little ladder, go up and feed the fish. Okay, I don't know the names of all of these. A little sea bream thing here. But what's really cool is this little art display over here. Those are real fish. Dried fish that have been embedded into this medium. But you get in close here, and you can actually see the fish skin. The eyes aren't real. They're painted. Obviously, the eyes wouldn't survive being put into a display. But it's dried fish skin. Salmon. Salmon is huge here. Now, you can't fish for salmon recreationally around here because it's all locked up by the commercial fishing industry. But there are some places you can go out. You go into the main part of the museum, and you're greeted by this display. I think it has a name, but this is the Iwate coastline. You can press buttons, and little lights will light up and tell you what's where. But then the rest of this museum is just absolutely incredible. You have your basic displays that you kind of expect. But then you find all these little displays that just kind of surprise you. This is a little Ainu display, the indigenous peoples of Japan and their ivory and bone implements, bows and spears that they used for fishing in the coastal waters. Now, these are replicas, of course, but you can reach out and touch them. Bamboo handles, ivory and bone tips, and there's even examples of ivory and bone hooks throughout here. One of the most educational parts of this display are these models of the nets, as well as all the other equipment that they have. A lot of it's real, not just a replica, but it shows how the fishing industry in Iwate evolved over time, from the indigenous peoples and their bone and ivory handled implements up to, cordage and nets and into modern day. A lot of this stuff you can put your hands out and touch them and, be careful and all, but you can actually still smell the fish on a couple of them. You can take that for what you might expect it to be. These are really cool. These are like little downriggers. They put these are squid lures, and these are old downriggers that they'd put down so they can run 2 or 3 lures at a time, and go for the squid. Okay, and it's just some equipment from a little bit more modern, but then they have these harpoons, the tuna or even the whales and stuff. I don't think these are whale harpoons. They're a little bit smaller, but maybe small tuna, amberjack type stuff. But absolutely incredible collection of real implements, real tools that various eras of Japanese fishermen used. Little basket, I don't know what's that made of. Maybe maybe rice straw basket used for fish traps. And you see some examples of that over here. And if you've studied Alaska indigenous peoples, the Eskimo, the Inuit, the Inupiat, as well as even into the interior with the Athabascan, you'll these little torches that they use to fish at night that they're showing you here. But there is an echo of similarity in a lot of their tools. Now, obviously, hand made tools of indigenous people around the world, a lot of them have a lot of the same characteristics and look, because what works is what works. If you have natural materials in one area, it's going to look similar to implements made from natural materials of another. But it's also good to keep in mind that a lot of the Alaskan indigenous peoples came out of northern Asia here, and so it has kind of a common heritage. And you'll actually even see some of this. Here's some sea lions and stuff, but look at this. We got some harbor seals. This is just exactly like the ones that the Alaskan natives would hunt and make seal packs and out of. And so again, you see echoes of familiarity. And one of the things I love most about all this is being living in Alaska myself, is I'm in love with salmon. And so these salmon displays here, this entire corner of the museum is dedicated to salmon and the salmon life cycle and fishing for salmon and all of everything salmon. So as a absolutely dedicated Alaskan, chases the Alaskan salmon every summer, I really liked this corner over here. It shows all the salmonoids from smaller to the largest ones here. This it has little stuffed sea lions here. That one, the one that you just cut away from, the kids can crawl on. And then this corner here, every corner is dedicated to kind of a different theme. You've got the shellfish here. You got the giant scallops. They're it's more of a Hokkaido thing, but they definitely have scallops around here. You saw in some of the earlier footage that they had the farmed oysters and scallops out there in the bay, and that's what this is showing you, is the life cycle of the common scallop. It was absolutely awesome bringing my kids into here, and instead of just being a tourist spot, we gave them some notebooks so that they could actually make it a educational trip. And so it became a homeschool field trip. We weren't expecting this level of detail. This is a model of the uni, the sea urchins, cooking it and eating it and processing it, and then the life cycle of the sea urchin. Used to be a huge industry up here in Tohoku on the Pacific side is sea urchins. It still is. It's still a very strong part of the culture up here, but the industry itself is not what it used to be. One thing I found amazing, I asked what these presses were, and read the deal. These are presses that they actually use to get fish oil out of the fish stock. So fish oil was a very large industry here, actually, for lighting houses. So they'd burn fish oil and purified fish oil in their lamps. But I'm sure that the houses smelled a little bit fishy. But it was purified, so it's not that strong fishy smell that you might expect from burning fish oil for light. You come up here up to the second deck here, and you get a view of one of the things I thought was awesome is this handmade wooden boat. I have that as a hobby. I build wooden boats myself, so this caught my eye. It's suspended from the ceiling, and Japanese boats are, just like everything else Japan does, is ridiculously overcomplicated, but they're just gorgeous. They're gorgeous examples of fine craftsmanship, even their common boats. And then this is a look from the top down, just kind of looking down over the museum, an overview of everything you can see here. So I think you'll like it. Your kids will have a blast. And finally, I included a little bit of footage of Seatopia. That was that visitor center that was down by the commercial fishing dock. Just wanted to pop in here and show you how much they've recovered. This building was underwater from the tsunami, so they've really restored it. It's absolutely beautiful. I also wanted to say that finish up this video with how grateful I am for the opportunity to visit this part of Japan that was so incredibly devastated by the tsunami, and just absolutely impressed and grateful for how much the Japanese people have recovered from that disaster. So, just some video of the fishing boat, the commercial fishing. I want to say I had a beautiful time in Jodogahama and highly recommend you visit at your earliest opportunity. Thank you.